Hello everybody and welcome to the Formula A podcast. Today we are reviewing the British Grand Prix and doing a little bit of a preview to the Austrian Grand Prix. Let's introduce Kyle, Ryan and Marcus. How are you blokes?
Doing absolutely splendid. Absolutely
Great.
splendid.
After a race like that, I can't complain. And back-to-backs, good times.
Yeah, honestly man, #blessed. It's nice to be back. It's nice to see an amazing race, especially this season. We've been, as Lewis would say, we've been #blessed with a lot of great racing. But I think we can all agree Silverstone was hands down, by a country mile, was the best race of this season.
100%. And this is also the best podcast, by the way, because we got Marcus back. We're back to a three-peat.
Yeah.
All three of us are here again, finally. But yeah, 100%. I'm not arguing that. Best race for sure. Ryan, agree?
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was by far the most entertaining race we've had of this season. And that's saying a lot, as my favorite driver came seventh. It was kind of nice. It was kind of nice having him out of the mix and just let everyone else duke it out.
Well, they duked it out.
Yeah. We'll definitely get to that, but I think we need to start with just a little bit of an appreciation for how far the sport has come safety-wise. I mean, we saw two major accidents this weekend, both one in Formula 2, one in Formula 1, that the halo just constantly proving that it was the right decision to introduce.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we don't want to see these bad crashes, but at the same time, it's always good to appreciate and see how far the safety's come. And I was one of those guys that didn't really like the halo at first either, and I'm glad it proved me wrong. It's saved a few guys now. That crash was nuts, guys.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it at first.
Yeah.
It was
Especially with the roll hoop failing, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, that was crazy. And it wasn't thankfully the car had slowed down quite a bit with the gravel and everything, but it was the flip at the end that really freaked me out. That was just bad timing right before the fence, and he gets stuck in between the barrier and the fence. It was sketchy, man. And it was watching it at first on TV, and it's just showing them come through, the right, left, and you see some smoke and all the cars coming through, and it's hold on a second, was one of those guys on his roof? What's going on back there?
Yeah, no, it was absolute carnage.
Yeah, it was nuts. It's a bit of a, I don't really, I think it's just a racing incident, right?
I think so. It kind of, they were, three wide. I think if you had to pin it on somebody, I would say maybe Gasly. Because
You know what? I was all about blaming Gasly at first, but I've kind of gone back to it. And there was a gap there, and George did close it. I'm not blaming George. 100% it's a racing incident. But I go 50-50 George and Gasly.
Yeah.
There was a gap. Gasly got off the start really well. I also noticed that. And, there's a gap. You got to go for the gap. And then the gap was not there anymore very quickly. And his front wing was already in said gap. So, it could be Gasly being too over-optimistic at the start. And then I don't know. I don't want to say George is not self-aware, because I think for a young driver, George has amazing self-awareness on track. But a start like that, you really can't be launching your car, 1,000 horsepower car, as fast as you can, watching who's in front of you and braking, making the corner, who's beside you, what's in this mirror, what's in that mirror. It's a lot going on. So you're going to miss stuff. It happens. So, yeah, it's a racing incident, but I go 50-50 split for blame.
Yeah.
If you're going to point the blame.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. And the guy that got the worst of it there, Joe, was just the innocent bystander, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It was just, 3 to 1.
He was just a passenger in that,
Yeah.
But another thing that sucks is now George's top 5 streak is over.
It is over.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I'd been trying to predict that with my predictions the last few times. It didn't work. And I said, you know what? He's just going to keep rolling. So I put him on the podium, and there you go. He's out in the first corner now. So it's the way she goes.
It's kind of crazy. Even after that, where George doesn't even finish a race and Lewis gets a podium, George still holds 18 points over Lewis in the standings currently.
Damn.
Wow.
That's
That-
impressive.
That's
So,
really impressive. New guy at his new team. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
super impressive.
So what do you guys think? Do you think Russell can hold off Hamilton for the entire season and stay ahead of him, or do you think Hamilton will eventually gobble him up?
I don't know. I think he's got that spark right now. I think Lewis is gonna either close the gap or pass him, because I just think Lewis has that momentum right now.
I back up everything Marcus just said. He's just got that twinkle in his eye. He's feeling it again. I think Canada was like the wake-up call that he really needed, where it's like your team's working really hard and they're figuring things out, and maybe it's the car's going back to the way you like to drive it, and I think he's starting to realize that now. And because we saw some classic driving from Lewis. There was a lot of good driving from a lot of guys that we're gonna get to for sure. But
Oh yeah.
we're on the topic of Lewis, so I'll just point out there was some vintage Lewis in that race. I think like that double pass on Perez and Leclerc. Obviously, it was, he had to take an opportunity where Perez and Leclerc kind of forced each other off the track a bit, but he still made it work, and it was a wicked move. And seeing the reaction from the crowd,
the commentary was epic.
Commentary was epic. It was just wicked.
I know, like, that crowd, that cheer, you could hear that from Sweden. Like, it was, that was a roar and a half.
Yeah.
It's funny, when the race was going on and Hamilton's just pumping out fastest lap after fastest lap, I'm so used to seeing that in the previous years that my initial instinct emotion was to be annoyed. I'm like, oh, great, here we go again. I'm like, wait a minute. He's doing that in the third fastest car. I'm actually not annoyed. That's actually extremely impressive.
Yeah.
I went from annoyed to impressed, and then I'm like, okay, well, it's not going to last forever. The Ferraris are going to get him, or Perez will start pumping, and it's like still fast, still fast. But yeah, it was insanely impressive drive, and he had no teammate to help him as far as strategy or anything goes, so he was just flying solo, chasing down the prancing horses.
Well, you want the ultimate, like, hell is frozen over, world upside down, everything, what's black is what's white, and whatever left is right. He got on the radio to Bono and said tires are still good.
Yeah.
He did not tell Bono the tires were gone. It was like, what is this? Like, what reverse world are we living in? He just said the tires are good.
Whoa. Time out.
Okay.
So Hamilton was saying his tires were good, and Max was complaining about his car this weekend?
Yeah.
It's just so backwards.
What the hell happened? Let's use that segue, actually. It's a bit of a rough week for a Verstappen fan. Not too bad for Red Bull. I think all things considered, the damage control was pretty good on their part. They didn't really lose out too much to Ferrari. It could have been a lot worse. Ferrari shot themselves in the foot. But, I mean, they still took the win.
Yeah. And I mean, you know what? Like, they were saying the pace difference from Max, like with that damage, he was losing 0.8 of a second per lap compared to the Ferraris, and to only drop down to 7th, that's not bad, all things considered. Like, did you guys see the picture of Max holding the debris that was stuck under his car? Like, that was a bit like
It was a big piece.
How do the marshals miss that?
Yeah, we've seen them like throw a yellow or a VSC or a red if it was qualifying for a lot less debris. Wasn't it like Monaco where Tsunoda spun and like literally nothing happened? He kept going and they dropped a red flag.
Yeah.
And it was like, but there's nothing there. And then this is like there's shards of AlphaTauri everywhere, and they just say, oh, whatever. It's just weird.
Put on your tinfoil hats for this one.
Uh-oh.
So you're telling me the piece of debris that was forgotten about by the British marshals at the British track got caught up in Verstappen's car? Dun, dun. No, I'm just kidding.
I hope you are.
It is a funny coincidence, but I'm completely kidding about that. And if anyone actually believes that the British marshals actually left debris just for Verstappen, you are out to lunch. But it was from Yuki Tsunoda. So Yuki managed to take out not one, not two, 3 Red Bull cars. All he had to do was take out Perez somehow, and he would have Like, that's it. Grand Slam. You got them all.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Perez, what a recovery.
That was huge.
That was unreal.
Like, he was way out of it.
18th to second or
I think it was 17th, yeah.
Yeah, he was way down there. I think after we lost 3 cars at the start, and then he was dead last. So, 17.
And then how wholesome was it seeing Perez's dad and Lewis's dad, like,
that was
watching
so
them.
Cool. Like,
oh, I didn't see that. That is cool.
It was wicked. Perez's dad, I'm blanking on his name, but he gave Anthony Hamilton...
Mr. Perez.
Mr. Perez, we'll call him that. He gave Anthony Hamilton, like, the biggest, like, wettest kiss on the side of his cheek. Right? And they're just sitting there, like, with their arms around each other, watching their kids up on the podium. It was really cool. It was
now
cool.
Kith.
Yeah, now Kith.
Read your shirt.
I am wearing a Kiss shirt right now, which makes it even funnier. Yeah, that was really cool. Doesn't matter what team you support at that point. That's always nice to see some wholesome comment. And Carlos's dad, Tom Cruise, was there too, so that was cool. He was standing with them as well.
Not to go off topic, but did you guys see the new Top Gun movie?
I didn't. I imagine he was at the track trying to promote it, like go see it.
It was such a good movie. Like, I would highly, highly recommend it because, like, they made a bunch of references to the original.
Okay.
So it was really cool. Definitely,
that's cool.
Definitely recommend it. Anyways,
there's your Formula A movie recommendation.
There
from
you
Marcus. Go. Thank you.
So why don't you guys go watch the new Top Gun? Let us know how you like it, and we'll hear from you next week.
And Tom Cruise, if you're listening, you can drop a sponsor whenever you want. But yeah, we did kind of bring up Carlos a little bit there.
Yeah,
it's his weekend. We should probably talk about the race winner, right?
Let's do that.
First pole, first win.
Yeah, what was it? First driver since Pastor Maldonado.
Yeah,
got it right this time.
Oh yeah.
To convert his first pole to first win, like that's really good for him.
That's kind of a terrible stat to compare him to, because you hope that he doesn't have a career like Maldonado. I
don't think he will. I think he's far past Maldonado already. But I mean. We were just questioning Carlos about his abilities, and do you think he's a caliber driver or championship caliber driver? And I think he went and improved it this weekend.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to what Ryan was saying, though. It took Perez dropping down to 9 or 20, we'll call it last.
Yeah.
Perez dropping down to last, Ferrari messing up Leclerc's strategy again, and Verstappen having trouble for Sainz to finally get his win. And the crazy thing is, though, even with a damaged front wing and older tires, it seemed like Leclerc was faster.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then I'm trying
to
be nice, Ryan. We're Canadian.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All the Carlos Sainz fans, I'm sorry. I'm happy for his win, but.
Hey, come on, man.
Yeah.
Are you trying to shit on my win here?
Yeah, I'm on.
Vamos, see. Come on, man. I'm still one of the top 20 driver in the world, so don't try to take this win away from me.
Yeah.
The pole was on merit. I think
the
pole
was on merit.
Yeah.
I think Carlos
Ryan's grimacing a bit.
I think he just lacks a little bit in race pace.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Oh, the yellow flag or the changing conditions. But you didn't, so I don't know. Carlos put in a banger of a lap, and that's all that matters to me.
And hey, you know what? Rain during qualifying is always spicy. Like, remember Russell last year?
Yeah. Got Williams' podium in the wet. I said that very cautiously.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rain separates the men from the boys. Carlos showed up. His dad's a world rally champion, so I'm sure he taught him how to drive in changing conditions. So definitely showed that time. And I mean, you could say what you want. Like, yeah, a lot of things had to go right for him to win, but he also he relinquished the lead a few times, and he had to get it back every time. So the most thing I was impressed by was his resilience, I think. And he just never really gave up.
I like that he stood up to the Ferrari strategist, too.
I was about to say, I think what really won Carlos's race there was being calm in the chaos.
Yeah.
So, like, they told him, you got to do this lap time. Next lap came around, didn't hit the target. Time to move Charles in front. And he just did it, no questions asked, no issue. We're going to pit you for softs. You're going to stay behind Leclerc. No, I'm not. Okay, have a good day. And he was just
Well, no,
calm,
I think
cool,
it was
collected.
they wanted him to give Charles 10 car lengths on the restart. And he was like, no, not going to happen, man. And then I'll be under pressure.
That was kind of a really nice way of Ferrari going, can you help Leclerc win this?
Yeah. No.
And he's like, nah, not going to do it.
Stop inventing. I think that, it was, man, that was a terrible, terrible decision. And Binotto said afterwards that, like, they didn't have a big enough gap between Leclerc and Sainz to pit both of them. That's BS. I'm not buying that at all. There was like a 5-second gap. He was still in Stowe corner. Like, right, that's the one right before the pits. Like, there was tons of time to bring him in. You just messed up big time. And thank God Carlos didn't listen to them, because if he tried to get him that 10 car lengths, the softs did not fall off like they said they were going to, or they thought they were going to. And I think Perez and Lewis would have been first and second had they not listened. So,
but still, very impressive from Charles fending off Lewis and Sergio on super old hards and half a front wing.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to be a big testament to the raw talent that Charles has.
Yeah, and I mean, Charles...
Around Lewis on old tires and cops with a broken wing, like, that was sweet.
That's crazy.
How much PTSD did you have, Ryan, seeing that onboard footage of Lewis on the inside?
My eye twitched like this when I watched that. But, it was good. I have nothing more to say at all about that. So.
Hey, man, it was just good, hard racing. That's all I can say. I'm super glad there was no penalties or track limits or anything like that. They just let them go. It was wicked, and the fans got a show for it.
Well, on the topic of penalties, I want to hit Ryan with this one. Do you think Max should have gotten a penalty for his last lap battles with Mick?
See, I didn't get to see it very well. The F1 TV coverage I was watching, they were really flickering back and forth between the leaders and what was going on with Verstappen and Schumacher. And I actually remember it was like a panned out shot from the very front of the straight, or the very back of the straightaway, like the end of it. And they were at the very front coming around. And it was hard to tell if Mick was up beside him enough for Verstappen to go, I should probably leave a car's width, and then maybe didn't. I don't know. I've seen some stuff on the internet going around that Verstappen was being rough. But then, Hamilton was rough at one point. Perez and Leclerc were rough with each other in the beginning and at the end. So I don't know. It was just kind of.
So if
it's kind of like everything.
I get it. In a way, I am kind of glad that they just let them duke it out and race. It wasn't even. I saw some people saying like the last corner where it was like Schumacher had a run on him and looked like he was gonna pass him, but then Verstappen cut in. I was fine with that. That was his line. I think it was more into left field where Schumacher was trying to go around the outside. I had a problem with that. It just looked like he just kind of ran him out of room, and we've seen other drivers make that scenario and people flip out and they want a penalty for it, and it doesn't happen. So I think it might have been a little overlooked. I don't think it's really the end of the world. I don't think there's anything too malicious. I just thought he was a little over-aggressive. That being said, here's my hot take for you, Ryan. I specifically want to hear what you think about this. As good as Verstappen is, and I will say he's probably, in terms of raw talent, the best guy out there right now. I don't think he's a very good defender, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I could see your point on that.
Like, I just think there's too much desperation. Desperation can be good, but I think it's to an extent. I just think it gets into some scenarios sometimes where it's like I'm gonna get passed, and I can't do anything about it, but I'm just gonna sort of throw my car in this direction and see what happens.
Yeah,
Like,
he's do or die.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I don't know.
he really is.
Yeah,
He really is do or die, and I hate to say it. That's why I like him so much, is I love the aggressive all or nothing, and usually he has it calculated. Like, he dives into a corner, and if any other driver did it, you're like, oh boy, here we go. They're gonna crash. That's it. And at the last minute, he's like, oh wow, he pulled it off. Right? Like, ever since he's been in the Red Bull from 2016, even in Toro Rosso, yes, he has crashed lots coming up through his ranks, but that's what made me like him so much, is that aggressive, do or die, claws out all the time, 7th place on a World Drivers' Championship. You get full max attack all the time. But I do agree, he's definitely better at being on the back foot coming forward than holding down the fort, in my opinion. Like, he'd rather hunt you down, come from second or third, as opposed to just... He can obviously...
yeah.
Leon gets close to him and had him in Montreal with Sainz. I think that was good defending.
I think Montreal was pretty good.
Yeah, Montreal was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, he had good defending there. I don't think he did anything controversial or aggressive. Just had good exit speeds in the corners, just drove the right lines, covered off what he had to cover off. And unfortunately for Carlos, he could not get by Max in Montreal. I don't think there was anything desperate there.
No.
But yeah, I could definitely see frustration, and I'm sure, like, I watched a bit of the onboard. That car looked like an absolute handful.
Oh yeah.
To drive.
I'll give him that.
20%
I'll give him
less.
that. Yeah, I'll give him that.
And then he was bickering on the radio, saying he wanted to, just like, kind of insinuating he wanted to call it. Let's just put the car in the garage, let's call it a day. And they're like, nope, you can still drive. You're good to drive. It's safe.
Yeah.
So I think what was happening with Max is he was thinking, he's like, well, if I fall to 8th, 9th, 10th, etc., well, what's the point? So I'm just going to give Schumacher everything I got.
Yeah. And I
I'm not
appreciate
excusing it. I'm just trying to think like Max.
Yeah. And
Yeah, because how many points do you get in 7th? Like 6?
6, yeah.
So it's still valuable points for the championship.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe it was in his favor. Not really, because he is still a whopping 43 points ahead of Leclerc.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
And I was going to say, maybe it was in his favor because Leclerc only came 4th. So 4th, 7th, that's not a huge gap. That's really good damage limitation.
Yeah.
But I think when you're almost 2 race wins away from your... Well, actually, Perez is his now new opponent in the World Drivers' Champion.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy.
And, Perez and Leclerc are only 9 points away. So I really hope, and I love Checo, but I hope Leclerc can snatch up those 9 and get back in the second and start hunting down Verstappen again. I really do.
Yeah, we all want to see a good fight, right? We want it to be interesting. So.
Apparently Ferrari doesn't, huh?
Oh man.
Oh, man.
If anybody needs a job, if anyone's out of work right now, they could probably use a new strategist, because whoever they got now ain't working. Like, it's scary, man.
Can Sainz work 2 jobs? Can he be the driver and the strategist?
I think he pretty much already is. I think he's learned from Vettel. If you want to win in this team, you got to just do everything by yourself, because they don't know what the hell they're doing. Like,
That was bad. I know you talked about it earlier about the gap. I think that's complete. Well, it was a chain of events. So I think Ferrari was way too delayed. They took way too long to flip Leclerc and Sainz. Hamilton was catching the 2 of them because Sainz was slower than Leclerc for a while. Like, that should have happened way sooner. Like, let him by. And then if Leclerc was that much farther ahead,
yeah.
if Leclerc was that much farther ahead, he could have pitted, and Sainz could have pitted, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I get that.
So now they're closer when the safety car came.
Mhm.
So, but I don't know. I think if I was Ferrari, if I was a team principal, I hate to say it, like the way Toto and Horner do business is you got to pick a guy and put more eggs into one basket. So, sorry, Sainz. Charles is our guy. He's the one that's going to be fighting Verstappen. He's getting softs first.
Yeah, I get it. If he was your guy, though, I would have thought you'd pick a better strategy for him instead of leaning out on dirty old hard tires with a
that's what I
broken
mean.
car. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I think we've done about 10 or 11 episodes of this show now, and I think every single one we've said, "Boy, what's wrong with Ferrari?"
Yeah.
Or like, how many mistakes can they make? It just sucks. But you know what? I'm trying to think of a way to sort of ease into this, but we've been talking about bad stuff with Ferrari, but they have one of their young up-and-comers who got a first this weekend. We just talked about him before. Can we give a little shout-out to our boy Mick?
Yeah.
First points, finally.
Oh, yeah.
Only took a year and a
Big
half,
first points.
but he got it.
I think there was a stat saying that he was the sixth longest. He's number 6 on the list of longest or most races before his first points.
Oh, man. I mean, at least the monkey's off the back now. We've been pretty hard on him in the past.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, we took some heat for it on Instagram. I appreciate that, but maybe if he got the monkey off the back, maybe he's confident now. Might see some more points finishes.
It'd be nice to see. It'd be very nice to see, actually.
Yeah, he's a good kid. We all know he can drive really well. And it's, he's had some bad luck too.
Yeah,
Can't
I
take
feel
that
like
away.
we keep forgetting that he's a Formula 2 champion.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that.
Because he's just been in a dog of a Haas.
Yeah.
But
And he had Nikita as a teammate too.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to judge his performance based off of that.
why he was basically the world championship.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. 100%. So
Well, do you guys know whatever ended up happening with Mazepin? I read somewhere that he was trying to sue Haas for like unpaid wages or something like that. And
yeah,
I
but
don't really know
mean,
what happened with that.
Unpaid wages.
Something or like because they just like they canceled his
That's-
contract.
I think he was angry because it was such an abrupt ending, and he was like, "What am I gonna do? I might as well just start suing everybody.
Yeah.
They took my job away, or whatever." But I don't know. We're never gonna see that guy ever again. So, thank goodness he's gone. I mean, he can't even. You know what? Forget Mazepin. We got the GOAT. We've got the GOAT in
Yeah.
F1. We were talking about Schumacher's first points. We had another first for our fellow Canadian, Nicky Latifi, into Q3.
That was really exciting.
How insane was that, watching that on qualifying?
Yeah, it sucked though that he was 22 seconds behind 9th place in qualifying, but it's all good.
Well, you know why he did that, right? He
Wow.
wasn't even trying. He just went out, did one lap, set it on the board. He knew he wasn't going to beat anybody in Q3, so he just threw a time up and said, "Let's save the car." He wasn't trying.
That's fair.
Yeah, well, the GOAT
It's kind of a
sets
boss
his...
move. Like he's like, you know what? I'm here. Don't need to go farther. We're just going to throw a time up, and we're done. Done for the day.
Yeah, the GOAT sets his
My
own
word.
pace. Let's be real here, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mic drop. My work here is done.
yeah. He's like, whatever. Here's a 2.5 minute lap. That's your benchmark, whatever.
Well, what was that
He had
race?
a
Was it
big.
Singapore or Shanghai where Seb got pole with his first lap in Q3?
Yeah, I think he
that-
only did one lap in
Yeah.
each session, and he went fast every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. He's just taking a page out of Seb's notebook.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. So
And he held up Alonso for a lot of the race.
yeah,
Like it actually wasn't a terrible race for him.
Oh, how the
Two.
turns have tabled.
Yeah. There was
Oh,
man, there was oh man, there was at one point like, oh, you know what? It was the first start before the mayhem, like before they did the second restart. But his like launch off the line was insane. Like we saw Hamilton just took off, like blew past a couple guys that went up to third. Like I
And
think
then
Latifi
had to give it all back.
Yeah, I didn't understand that at all. But Latifi's
Nope.
start was crazy, up to 8th, and he held it for a long time in the race. And we thought, figured, it is still a Williams, so it doesn't. He even said himself, like, even if you get a good like lap in qualifying, it's like it's a slow car in the dry, it's still a slow car in the rain. So, but he held on to it for a long time. So,
Yeah.
thumbs up to Nicky. Good
Yeah.
job, buddy. If you're listening to this, nice work. Yeah, so that was good. But yeah, I didn't get the. Sorry, I just remind myself of that. Why did they change the
their
order?
explanation was because they didn't make it to the second safety car line or whatever before the red flag was dropped. So basically, they didn't make it to like the pit exit before the red flag was dropped, or something along those lines. So they just reset to the qualifying grid, minus the.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Because
So
then they counted the laps too, like under safety car and like in for the red flag. It was really weird. Like I just found it strange that
It
they
didn't
were.
make any sense to me, but the only reason I never.
Yep.
It didn't make any sense to me, but I didn't question it simply because, if it was something controversial, Christian Horner and Red Bull, they would have been all over it. And no one really said a peep. So it must have been a pretty known rule, or at least for them, like a known part of the rule book. So that's why I didn't put too much thought to it.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
It still didn't make sense to me. The way I look at it is if you go back to the original grid, shouldn't you reset the laps then? I don't know.
Well, that's what I thought
Yeah, it
too.
was weird.
Yeah, a little strange, but whatever. We still got the best race of the season out of it.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to point out, that whole battle, like at the end after the last safety car,
God.
like the key thing, like obviously the battling was incredible. It was back and forth, swapping positions, but the key thing was that there was not just the three up front, like Leclerc, Hamilton, and Perez, but we had Alonso and Norris there too, and it's 5 different teams
Yeah.
fighting
Did
for
you
a
hear-
podium.
did
That
you-
was sick.
Did you hear Alonso's message at the end of the race?
I don't think so.
No.
He's so funny. He goes, "Good P4, guys. We'll definitely get P4 because Charles will get a penalty." He was like confidently trying to plant the seed.
Oh, really, eh?
Yeah. It was just Alonso being Alonso.
Yeah.
But I found it so funny. He confidently said, "He's like, yeah, we'll have P4. We'll have P4."
Well, since you brought up Alonso and Norris, I guess I'll bring up the predictions where the one race where Kyle and I don't have Lando in the top 8.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so,
Boom.
And the non-McLaren guy puts him in the top 8 and gets it. So
yeah,
Marcus,
In the
I think
correct
we got to.
spot,
I think we
too.
just got to stick with our boy from now on.
I
and
think
keep putting
so.
him in there. Yeah.
Well, I think we may as well just give our Austria predictions while we're...
Yeah. I think we should. Yeah, we should roll into the predictions because we got another race coming up this weekend. The fun's
Yeah.
not stopping. So yeah, Austria.
Oh, by the way, before we leave that quickly,
Yep.
we're talking about Norris and Alonso because what do you think the points gap is between McLaren and Alpine? Because they're going to be each other's competitors this year.
6 points.
Something like that. I know it's pretty tight.
Correct.
Did I get it? Oh, okay. I knew it was
Only
close.
6 points.
Wow.
Alpine is clawing back fast at Lando Norris.
Wow. So,
I don't know if you caught what I said there, but I took a dig.
I mean, I was assuming the dig was just the fact that Alpine is catching up to McLaren quickly.
No, he's
What was
getting
the-
at
what was
that Danny Rick isn't getting any points.
Oh, man.
So that's why
I don't...
Alpine's catching Lando Norris fast.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I mean, I don't even really want to open that can of worms again because I probably repeated
Yeah.
myself, but it's just another bad race for Danny. I'll just leave it at that, I think, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go off a little bit.
Okay.
My dog is named after him. I love the guy to death. Nicholas Latifi beat you, and you still didn't get points in a race with that many DNFs. unbelievable. That was terrible. You
Yeah.
can't blame the car for that. I know he had a DRS issue here and there, but
Yeah, no, sorry.
that was unacceptable.
There were guys that had pieces of cars stuck into their cars and guys who had half front wings that were still driving the wheels off their cars. So I can't even take that excuse anymore. It's just not good.
Like you said, we're going to sound like a broken record, so
Yeah.
we move on.
Yeah.
So, Austria, predictions. I got them in front of me. Shall I start? Who should I start with?
Well, you start with yours because I don't think Marcus and I saw yours. So
Okay.
yeah, start with yours because I want to be surprised.
I have a Red Bull 1-2, Verstappen, Perez.
Yep.
I
Yep.
have a Hamilton for third.
Oh,
Nice.
Okay.
Hamilton hype train. Leclerc in fourth, which I don't know how that's going to happen, but Ferrari will figure it out somehow.
Yeah.
Sainz in fifth. Russell for sixth. Alonso for seventh.
Oh man. Yeah.
And Nicholas Latifi for eighth.
Oh, is that for real? Like, are you
That's for real.
serious?
Lock it in. Lock it in.
Okay. I mean, all right, you're locking it in. I'm the one that's gonna make that graphic, and as soon as I make it, I'm not changing it. You've made your bed and you lay in it, sir. Like,
If I get it right, I am retiring. I
okay.
don't know what I'm retiring from, but I'm retiring from something.
Maybe we're the ones that should retire because if you get that right, I don't even know how I'm gonna possibly come back in the points for that. Okay, I enjoy your enthusiasm and your confidence. I like it.
I'll say this. I'll make a disclaimer. I'm going bold with that.
I'll say this.
I don't expect it.
I'll say this. You'll be a social media sensation. Let's say this. You'll be like Gianluca
Yeah.
Vacchi. Yeah. And he's modest too.
So I'll go next because me and Ryan have almost the same prediction here.
Oh.
So I've got the same thing, McLaren. Jesus.
I wish.
I wish. Nope. I've got a Red Bull 1-2 with Verstappen and Perez. My third and fourth are swapped. So I've got Leclerc in third, and I think Hamilton will be right behind in fourth. I've also got Sainz, Russell, and Alonso, I think, in the same order as Ryan. But I'm confident in Norris. Norris has done really well in Austria. I think he's got 2 podiums in Austria.
I
just
think
the-
so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
one
two-
for sure. One for sure. Yeah.
I think, yeah. No, I think it's
It
2.
might be. It might be 2. Yeah. Yeah.
So
can't remember.
I think Norris will do well. I hope he finishes higher than 8th, but I'm putting him in the top 8. I think I'm good with that.
Yeah, you're right. He's quite good there. Actually, he is quite good.
Quick rollback and shout out to the lap of a lifetime in 2020.
Oh,
Scenario 7 was that it?
Scenario 7.
Yeah.
That's the one.
What a banger! And that was the lap. He had to put that lap in against the 2020 Mercedes too, which is like the fastest race car ever built, right? And that's what he was competing with for
Yeah.
that lap. That was mental. Lap of the gods. So,
Yeah.
shouts out.
All right, Kyle, what do you got?
Okay, mine's a little different. I'm sticking on Verstappen first. This is his track. It's his race. I'm not even going to question that. I've got Lewis in second. I think Mercedes are there. And he's got the twinkle in his eye. Leclerc third. I'm jumping on your hype train. Alonso fourth. I'm fully buying into Alpine is like actually for real. I think they are pretty
Alplan.
good. Alplan, I support it. I'm with you, man. I questioned it, but I'm totally supporting it now. I got Perez in fifth, Russell in sixth, Norris in seven, and Ocon in eighth. So
I noticed there's no signs in there.
no signs. I feel like, and I'm sorry to take this dig again, but we're back to gravel.
A lot of graphics.
Yeah, and
It's really close to the edge of the track.
and yeah, a lot of heavy braking zones. And you know what? I'm sort of rolling the dice on that. Like, if he finishes outside of top 8, it's clearly not to do with him or the car. Like, something's obviously gone wrong. I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like maybe like first win slump sort of thing might kick in. I feel like something might happen. almost like how I think you might have forgot to point this out. You did predict on the last episode, or you asked me, did I think Verstappen's points lead would swing again at Silverstone? And
I did say that. I did open my mouth.
And you were right. And you were right. And I shouldn't have questioned it. But that's kind of how I feel with Sainz a bit. I don't know. I just have something sort of getting at me a bit. Like, and, I don't think Austria's really been his best track either. I do remember 2020, that Norris podium. I do remember Sainz having to get out of the way for Norris because he was holding Norris up. And that kind of helped Norris get that podium too. So I don't think it's his best track either. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Ferrari's got the competitive car, so who knows? Maybe...
I'm sure they'll find a way to bin it and make it do terribly, even though it's good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure we'll be starting the next podcast with the clown noises.
Yeah.
Crazy stat. If the race goes in a certain way that none of us predict, Sainz is only 11 points behind Leclerc. So another really bad race for Leclerc, Sainz could be the points leader in Ferrari. He could be.
And I mean, he did outperform Leclerc in points last year.
He did. Yeah, he did.
I feel like we keep forgetting about that, especially with Leclerc being the Ferrari golden boy right now.
Yeah, so it's anybody's game, really. That's the fun part. That's the fun part. And that's the fun part with the new cars and everything, new regs, is that it's kind of unpredictable who's gonna take off, right? And
well, I think it was Ryan that gave us the stat that Mercedes are closer to catching Ferrari than Ferrari are to catching Red Bull.
Yeah, and to that point, to Marcus's point there.
Well, Ryan's point.
Well, Ryan's point that Marcus relayed. How about that? Do you guys think that Mercedes can finish ahead of Ferrari by the end of the season?
1,000%, not a single doubt.
All right.
Yeah, I think Mercedes can come second. It's there. The car is improving rapidly, and it's going to have to just take Ferrari to clean up. If Ferrari cleans it up, and I really hope they do, I don't think they'll catch them. But as it sits right now, Red Bull to Ferrari is a 65-point gap.
Oof.
Ferrari to Mercedes is a 61-point gap.
Oh, man.
So if they keep just doing what they're doing, and, you got Hamilton and Russell, they've both been really professional with each other. They're not getting tangled up with each other. They're just head down, and they're fighting into those leads, those points leads. And if they keep that up, they could pull it off by the end of the season.
And Mercedes has the most consistent car, too. Like, okay, sure, it hasn't been a very good start for them, and the car has been pretty weak by their standards. But, I mean, they finish every time. And I mean, in a season where so many guys are having mechanical issues and wrecks and everything, like, those just top consistent, like, 5th, 6th, 4th place finishes they've already had are going to pay off big time in the end, I think.
And they're picking up the slack, and like that's what's kept them in this second place fight. But who knows? What if they end up if something goes catastrophically wrong for Red Bull, Mercedes could challenge for the constructors.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta remember we're only like halfway through the season, so a lot could happen. I think it's Red Bull's to lose, really. I think I think it's definitely theirs, but the Ferrari and Mercedes for second it's on, man. Mm-hmm. And I think Ferrari should be seriously worried because that Merc is looking really good. Russell's been really good all season, and if the car's getting better, I can't wait to see what he can do with a better car. Hamilton is looking like his old self again.
I'd love to see Russell's first win.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he got absolutely robbed and secure, but it was Sergio's first win, so it's like, it's tough. It's a tough, like, you give up the miracle drive from Russell, but you get a Sergio win. But I think, given the right circumstances, just like we saw with Sainz, I think Russell can sneak a win.
You do? Okay. Because I was actually thinking that, like, do you guys think Mercedes could get a win this year? And if so, who gets it first, Russell or Hamilton?
I think it would. That's a tough one.
That's a tough one, eh?
It would have to
fully track dependent.
Yeah.
I think just whatever, based off whatever you want. Who do you think would get it first, Russell or Hamilton?
I think it's going to be Russell getting super lucky with the safety car.
Okay.
So I've noticed something with Hamilton this season. He really thrives in places where he has a crowd that loves him and tracks that he's really comfortable at. Canada, he's always loved.
Yeah.
Silverstone, he's always loved. I'm going first Mercedes win is Brazil.
Yeah. we were just saying he's gonna say Brazil. Honorary citizen Lewis Hamilton of Brazil. I could totally see that. So you think Hamilton before Russell then, and it's gonna happen in Brazil?
I think he's going to pull off some Senna miracle drive where he just has the crowd behind him and he's driving the car like it's just isn't even real like he did last year. I think it'll happen again.
I could see that, yeah. Because it's not going to – I don't think that car's going to win at any, like, outright speed tracks. It's going to have to be something like a Brazil where it's just a mix of high and low speed corners and, you know, it's going to have to come down to a really good driver performance. I could see that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Another bold one, Alonso's first win back, Monza.
You're banking on that. You said that a couple weeks ago.
I don't think he'll win, but my God, if I'm right, like if that happens, I'd be so pumped for him.
Okay, so that could happen, but this track we're at now, this weekend at Red Bull Ring, it's a lot of straightaways, and the Alpine's a rocket ship. I mean, I've got him. I think I've got the highest pick for him this weekend in fourth. But do you think that he could maybe squeak a sneaky podium in there this weekend?
Maybe, yeah.
Possible?
You know, fifth place at Silverstone. It's not impossible.
Yeah. I think it's doable. There's 3 DRS zones in Austria too, so
Yeah.
you know, and if he gets in that slipstream and gets a couple spots up, and if you get behind Alonso, like have fun with that, because the Alonso train is real. He doesn't let people
you know
by.
what? Maybe Alpine can get that win in Hungary. If they nail the setup for qualifying.
Maybe.
Right? Because we saw how hard it was to overtake there.
Yeah.
And the Alpine has the speed. Like, Alonso almost got pole in Australia.
Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking. You might have to look out for these guys this weekend in Austria, man. Like, that car's a rocket ship. It's a fast track. And, yeah, that could be interesting, man. But this is the Red Bull Ring, dude. So we know what team is on the name of the track. We see the Orange Army out there. It's Verstappen's to lose. Let's be real.
All the flare guns.
Yeah, let's be real. You can see it from outer space, man. Like, it's, yeah.
I'll still never forget one of the funniest moments was Norris going, I appreciate all the McLaren fans in Orange.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We love that.
I love his little jokes there. And he's like, oh, the fireworks for me.
Yeah.
But the thing I like the most about him is he cracks himself up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes himself.
Like, he'll say a joke and he'll just start dying laughing, which makes it, like, all the more funny.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm the wittiest bloke of the bunch, aren't I? Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, boys.
Yeah.
What do we think?
I think it's
I
going
got
to
one
be
other
fun.
thing to ask
A good
you guys.
race.
Okay.
There's 4 drivers all within 1 point of each other, and I want you to pick who you think's going to come out on top. Gasly and Magnussen are tied for 16 points, and Vettel and Ricciardo are tied for 15 points. Out of the bunched up 4, who will come out on top? What's your thoughts?
Danny Rick.
By the end of the season?
By the end of the season, yeah.
I would have to assume Rick,
Yeah.
right? Just, I mean, because
Like, the
best
McLaren's
car.
bad, but it's not no
that
points bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Norris is up there all
Yeah.
the time.
If anything, it'll be between Rick and Gasly.
Yeah.
I was going to go with Gasly, unfortunately. I don't want to say that, but I'm going to say Gasly will come out above him.
I think Ryan's just trying to get us triggered.
Now that I've actually thought about it, might use a hot take. I'm changing. I won't say Ricardo to that. I am saying Magnussen.
Ooh,
that's
that's a hot take.
I know, but
a Haas take.
That's my Haas take, and that's not me just trying to be different for no reason. That guy can drive, man, and
All aboard the Steiner show.
that guy, and he upgraded.
Did you guys see the upgrade? I was
Yeah,
just
he
gonna say they
upgraded
upgraded.
the tugboat to the yacht. Yeah, double points finish, man. I forgot to mention that, by the way. Congratulations, Haas, double points finish.
Yeah.
Dude, Magnussen's a great driver, and I think that car is half decent. You know, some weekends it's not, but some weekends it's good. It's a little Jekyll and Hyde, and we know he's a super hard racer, so it's if he can stay clean, I would put it on Magnussen. I just feel a lot more confident with his driving than other people.
Yeah.
I was close to saying Seb too, but
That's what I thought you were gonna say for your hot
I was
take.
thinking about it at first, but I'm like, no. I just feel like if Magnussen can just keep his nose clean, then I would say Magnussen. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you for that, though. That was pretty good.
That was
Yeah.
that was a good one. What else is on your stats paper there, chap?
I got AlphaTauri, Haas, and Aston Martin are all bunched up. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out.
I would hope AlphaTauri can come out on top of that one, but
I would think it would be them, but who knows? Honestly, it's tough to tell. I like both of their drivers too.
yeah.
I'd like to see them do good, but it's really hard to tell, man.
I think that there's just so many good drivers on the grid right now that there's no, like last year it was very obvious who didn't belong.
Yeah.
But this year, like, you just get excited for anyone who gets points. Like, there's never been a bad race result, I think.
Yeah. It's cool to see, man. It's great for
Yeah.
the fans. I think it's great for the sport, the teams, everything. So, yeah.
Well, I was
Oh,
actually
agreed.
talking to one of my suppliers today. He's a huge F1 fan. Like, he's been going to the Montreal race for about 15 years. He's gone to a few Europe races, and he was telling me, like, he went to Montreal, and it was insane how many people were there, like how many new fans. He was saying he was there for FP1, and it looked like the Sunday.
Yeah.
And like just getting from his hotel to the race took about 5.5 hours,
That's crazy.
which is ludicrous. He goes, yeah, it took me 2.5 hours to get from where the taxi dropped me off to my seat in the grandstand.
Wow.
Ooh,
I mean,
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, good time to be an F1 fan, I guess.
Right?
Yeah. The hype is real, man. And
The
good
hype
time to
is
be a
real.
Formula A fan too, because yeah, this podcast is banging, guys. I don't know what else is down
I
there.
didn't know where you were going
Yeah.
with that one, but
Yeah.
you know, we'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Did we get everything, guys?
I think so. I know
I
we.
think so.
Yeah, I don't think we got a little. Did we do a little note spreadsheet today, or
I don't think so. Just kind of roll with it.
like
Oh,
this thing?
I kind of had some pointers, but there is one thing I want to say. I just want to shout out to
Yeah.
close it.
Yeah.
George Russell. What a good chap.
Yes.
Checking in on Joe. Some Senna style vibes.
Well, did you see Callum Ilott posted a tweet where like the first time he flipped a go-kart, it was Russell that booked it to check on him.
Yeah. That's awesome sportsmanship, man. Love to see it. Love to see it.
But then
Yeah.
there's also the humorous side of the internet where he thought it was Bottas in the
Yeah.
AlphaTauri or the Alfa Romeo, so he went to give him a little pat on the helmet there.
Just give him the old one finger salute. And yeah. But it's like, oh, never mind. It's Joe. I'll go help him.
Oh no, it's not
Yeah.
the 77. We're good.
But yeah, good guy, Russell. Good guy. We need more people like him. That was
Yeah.
nice to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, boys.
Yeah, I think we'll end it
Yeah,
on
I
the
think that's
high
it.
and.
Yeah.
Time to close her out.
In celebration of the best race of the season, I think this is our longest podcast of our season so far.
I think
So
so.
that was pretty wicked. And I can't wait for Austria, too.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
definitely think it's going to be a good podcast. So tune in next week, guys, and we'll have the Australian GP race review.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right.
We'll see you next week. Take care.